It's time for the Doug Garrison Show. This week, we meet the organizers of the Teal Lake Swim for Diabetes with information about how you can participate. The people from the UP Diabetes Outreach Network are here to discuss what they're doing to help people with diabetes. We introduce a new segment called People of Interest, and our first entry features a local veterinarian. And we have a surprise musical guest. So stick around. The Doug Garrison Show starts now.
Tell the host 2 minutes. Stand by live to tape. Lighting to show level, please. Confirm front of house sound PFL. Roll tape on masters to all the places. Alright, let's clear the set. Cue John music, open stage mics, standby effects, standby CG. Standby to open on 3, 2. Alright folks, let's have a good show. Stand by, roll it in.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. We have a spirited crowd here at Up Front and Company. You're always invited to join us. We tape on Tuesday nights at about 6:30, and we'd love to have you in our audience. We also welcome those watching at home on Charter Channel 12 and Fox UP. We've got a good show tonight, so I'm not going to stand up here and waste a lot of your time. We're going to learn about diabetes and what's going on in the UP to fight that disease and how you can help not only combat that disease and how you might deal with it yourself and how you can participate in a fundraiser that's also dealing with diabetes. We're also introducing a new segment tonight called People of Interest, and we're going to meet someone from the area that I think you'll find very interesting. And at the end of the show, we're going to have music by a special surprise guest. So we've got all that coming up, so stick around. Remember, like us on Facebook, and you'll find out what's going on with the Doug Garrison Show, and you'll know who's appearing in weeks to come. So check us out on Facebook, the Doug Garrison Show. Like us, and you'll be able to be a part of the Doug Garrison Show family. Okay, we're going to get started in just a minute. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, thank you.
Zip.
Zilch.
Nada. Not a penny due when you drive away in your new Honda.
Make no down payment on this Honda Civic and pay only $220 a month.
With no first month's payment and zero deposit.
Get this, not 1, not 10, but 26 times the Honda Accord has been voted a top 10 car. This one's just $250 a month with zero due at signing.
Come pick out your new Honda at the new Riverside of Marquette.
The Doug Garrison Show is brought to you in part by Bell Hospital and Bell Rehab Services. Safely take the road to physical recovery with Bell Rehab Services. And by Marquette Golf Club, home of the classic heritage and award-winning Gray Walls golf courses. For rates and information, visit marquettegolfclub.com. And by Iron Bay Computer and Design. Iron Bay gives you the quality and service you demand.
We're the third oldest banking franchise in the state of Michigan. We've been able to grow the bank, add additional products and services, and expand into other areas so that we can grow and prosper, but also the customers can grow and prosper along with us. What we try to do is weave in the old with the new, but still I think it goes back again to the human element.
And that's why Peninsula Bank's been around since 1887.
West End Update is presented by Fox Negaunee. Find new cars, used cars, and one of the area's most respected service departments at Fox Negaunee. Only the best. All right, our West End Update features an event happening at Teal Lake, one of the jewels of the West End, and it's the Teal Lake Swim for Diabetes. And with me are Dr. Michael Grossman and Melissa Nelson. Thanks for joining us here. You've got this event coming up, Dr. Grossman. You've been doing this for quite a few years now. How long has this been going on?
This is our ninth event.
Ninth event.
This year.
And you indicated that you got into this because your son is diabetic, and
Right.
it was kind of the impetus behind you getting involved. Tell us about that.
Well, I've been very much involved with diabetes care as a physician from the start, but my son developed it when he was 2 years old in 1987, I believe. So, I've done everything I can to raise awareness about having diabetes, whether it be type 1 diabetes, which children usually get, or type 2, which is more common and adults have. And anyway, I was just thinking I like sporting events like runs and bikes, and I like to swim. So I thought, well, there's no swims around. You never hear of a swimming event. No. And I love Teal Lake. It's a beautiful lake, no motorboats in it.
That's right.
Safe to swim in.
Yep.
So I thought, why don't we have a swim across Teal Lake and make it an event, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
The first year we had 37 participants, and last year we had 120.
That's great. You've raised quite a bit of money over the years, too.
Yeah, we raise anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 a year.
Excellent. And now, Melissa, you're a swimmer, one of the participants. How many times have you participated in this event?
Just two.
2 years. And you have diabetes yourself, so it's close to home for you.
Yes.
Tell us about that. When did you find out that you were diabetic, and how do you deal with that?
I found out that I was diabetic about 3 years ago, and it was quite a shock. And ever since then, I've just been determined to do all I can to help. And when I heard about the swim, of course, I wanted to be involved. And the last couple of years, I've raised a lot of money and trained hard and did the swim.
And that's how this works. The participants raise money, and you go out and you've raised more than $1,000 to help contribute to this event.
Yeah, about 1,000 each year.
Yeah, great. And have you encouraged others, friends of yours, to participate as well too?
Yeah, I was working on people to
Sure.
swimmers.
Are you a good swimmer?
I'm an okay swimmer.
Are ya?
I'm a strong swimmer.
Good enough.
Not fast, but yeah, I can get across.
Dr. Grossman, let's talk about this event because you're still signing people up. How can people participate at this point?
Well, I would encourage you to go to the website, teallakeswim.com, and it's very easy to register. We ask $75 for participants, which sounds like kind of a lot of money, but it's a charity event.
Sure.
And they can get pledges from as many people as they like. You can get a pledge form online, and you can register online. You can't pay online right now.
Okay.
So we ask that you make your payment at the time of the race. Or if you know somebody that's doing it, you can give the money to them. Or you can contact our race director. Her name is Tammy Ketchum at Bell Hospital.
Sure. Okay. We know Tammy.
Yeah.
Now, do you swim in it yourself as well?
Yeah. So that's kind of why I love to swim.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd have an event where that I could do and enjoy and do pretty well.
And this is the type of thing too that obviously there are people that want to win, but everybody's a winner, right?
Everybody's a winner. This year, for the first time, we're going to have 2 starts because some of the slower swimmers said, this is a great event, but I feel real bad about making people wait for me.
Yeah.
So the slower swimmers can start at 8:30 in the morning on July 28th, and then the faster swimmers will start at 9, and the super fast swimmers, if we get enough of them, will start at 9:30, and that way everybody will finish around the same time. But there may just be 2 heats, the slower heat and then the faster heat, and that's the ones that the people that are racing. And we've had some really fast racers.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
And this goes on rain or shine. Weather's not a problem because if it rains, we're going to get wet anyway.
Well, except if it's light, we canceled it 1 year. We postponed it to
right.
the
We
next day.
We don't want lightning.
Yeah.
Now this doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of people to pull this thing
Right.
off. I know there's some people you would like to thank for their support and sponsorship. Dr. Cowan being one, a friend of the show.
Yeah. In terms of sponsorship, Mark Cowan, he's a cardiologist in Marquette. He's been a great advocate for the past 3 or 4 years. His impetus is not really diabetes, although being a cardiologist, he takes care of a lot of people.
Sure.
But his son is a fantastic swimmer. He's a college swimmer now. But when he started, he was a high school swimmer. And his son has won it 2 or 3 times. He always comes in the top 3 or 4.
Excellent.
And he's doing it again.
Good.
Brad Cowan.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we're really happy to have
we'll
Brad.
watch for his
He's a great
name.
kid. And the first year he did it, Mark Spitz was there, a famous Olympic
Right.
athlete. And Mark asked him, and people were saying, well, how do you feel? And Mark interrupted. He feels tired and he's glad to be done.
A good answer.
Yeah.
Now, it takes a lot of volunteers. You mentioned the Ishpeming Rotary helps out, and obviously hundreds of other people to pull this thing
Yeah,
off.
well, you're going to be talking to the people that run UpDon, UP Diabetes
Right.
Outreach Network, which is where the money goes, but they also do a lot of work.
Yep.
Bell Hospital really helps out a lot, and especially Tammy Ketchum and some of the volunteers at Bell. We really appreciate them.
Yep.
And some of the people that do the PR work.
Yep. And speaking of that, Brett Michaels, kind of a celebrity, is also involved, and you're hoping to get him here someday, but he's supporting it as well.
Yeah, I can just tell you, Missy might want to say, we actually went to his concert last year at the casino.
Yep.
Well, tell them what happened, Missy.
We went to his concert and we were determined to meet with him to talk about this. We had a big, huge booklet of information put together, Dr. Grossman did. And, well, we were supposed to get VIP tickets, kind of didn't work out, but Dr. Grossman ended up, we were determined, and at the beginning of the show, they were auctioning off one of his guitars at the end of the show, and the guy said, basically, whoever wins this guitar is the first to meet Bret Michaels tonight. And Dr. Grossman looked at me and he said, well, we might be buying a guitar.
Very good. Well, hopefully he'll be that's good.
Yes.
Hopefully he'll be a supporter in upcoming years. Okay, it's the Teal Lake Swim for Diabetes. It's July 28th. You can visit them on the website, register to swim in this. You can participate or contribute any way you want. Support these swimmers. Melissa and Dr. Grossman, thank you very much for your good work. Good luck with it. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from the people at Updon about diabetes outreach in the UP. Stick around.
Summer is the perfect time to pack up and get on the open road. Take the summer road trip you've been dreaming of with a new vehicle from Fox Nagani. Save money with 10 Chevrolet vehicles offering 30 miles per gallon or more, and save time with OnStar turn-by-turn navigation, all backed by a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Plan the perfect family getaway in a new Equinox. Visit friends with a new Chevy Cruze or spend the summer outdoors with your new Chevy Silverado.
So pick out your Chevy and enjoy the summer. Fox Nagani, Marquette County's hometown dealer, only the best.
Togo's, Marquette's original submarine sandwich.
Guess what? You can get any new or used car financed at the Marquette Community Federal Credit Union for 3.9% APR. New or used. Got your eye on this new Escalade? 3.9%. How about this 75 Gremlin? 3.9%. Looking at this stylish Dodge Dart? 3.9%. How about a new Chevy Cruze? 3.9%. RV, boat, tractor? 3.9%. What about this DeLorean time machine? 3.9%. 3.9% auto loans new and used at the Marquette Community Federal Credit Union. Stop in and apply today.
All right. We have a plucky audience, I heard, at the upfront tonight. Remember, join us Tuesday night, 7:30. Okay, we are continuing our diabetes theme here. We have a couple ladies representatives from the Upper Peninsula Diabetes Outreach Network, also known as UPDON, with Ms. Ann Constance, Program Manager, and Kay Bammert, Office Manager. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're following up the event, the Teal Lake Swim for Diabetes, and that was more talking about that event. Let's talk a little bit more about the disease. I know it's very prevalent these days, and I don't know a lot about it, but I understand that obesity is one of the causes, and it's something that can be prevented. And if there are certain levels that if you have it, you can deal with it. So tell me a little bit about what your agency does to help people with diabetes.
Basically, what we do, we're a tiny organization for one thing, 4 part-time people.
Efficient organization.
Efficient.
Okay.
And we form partnerships. We find people to get on the bandwagon with us and address issues to help strengthen diabetes care and prevention across the UP. So we serve the entire UP, which is pretty incredible in and of itself.
Yeah.
So anything from, we started, our original work was in quality improvement, so we helped agencies better deal with patients that have diabetes and follow up with them regularly. We've brought a number of programs to the UP. One was the kids camp, which Swim Teal Lake started to help support. The American Diabetes Association pulled it from the UP. Of course, that's too far to go.
Yep.
So we brought a camp back to the UP. We've got an independent committee that oversees it now. We're still a part of it. But that was something that the parents were telling us, we need something for our kids here in the UP. We brought a program called Personal Action Toward Health to the UP. Our advisory council, we have an advisory council made up of folks from across the UP. They said, we need more support for people with diabetes, so that's a program that we brought up for more support.
Is a lot of your stuff educational in nature for preventative purposes?
Some of it's educational, but other things are actually helping people that need help.
Yeah.
So, for example,
who have diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, we started a program for college students. We identified that college students lose their health care benefits at the age of 21 oftentimes if they're covered by the state health care plan. Of course, now they can be covered till age of 26 if their parents have health care coverage. But we identified that there was a gal that was going to drop out of college so that she'd get a full-time job and insurance to pay for her insulin pump.
Yeah. So you can help situations like that.
We get many calls from people that can't afford their medications, they can't pay for their glucose strips, they can't get their annual eye exam, they just can't afford it. So we've worked with the Access to Care programs, the Lions Clubs, and a variety of other resources to make sure that people with diabetes get what they need.
How are you funded?
Well, we used to be funded. We used to be funded entirely through a grant from the state of Michigan. Currently, we're unfunded. So, events like Swim Teal Lake, we get donations.
So you become fundraisers now too.
Absolutely. We write grants that help support different kinds of projects that we're doing, and luckily, we're still in business, and we're actually not doing too badly because we have lots of support here in the UP.
Well, diabetes is far-reaching. I mean, what percentage of the population is affected by diabetes?
So almost 10% of the
a lot of
adults
people.
here in the UP have diabetes.
And was I right that it's a result of obesity for the most part? A lot of it?
A lot of it. So 90 to 95% is linked to lifestyle. So being overweight, not getting much exercise. Even smoking is linked with more diabetes development.
Yeah. And now talking about that, Kay, you're working with a program called PATH that has to do with lifestyle changes, I think. Explain PATH to us.
PATH is Personal Action Towards Health, and it's a free 6-week workshop that we do, and we really invite anyone who has any health concern, and that's stress, weight, high blood pressure, not just diabetes, because we know
plenty
that
of candidates out there.
Exactly, and we know that people with diabetes tend to have those other issues, or people with those other issues like being overweight or having high blood pressure are at a higher risk for diabetes. So it really helps people have support. It's a closed group, and we become very supportive and close. It's fun to hear
how can people get involved in that program?
They just need to call our office.
Okay.
We tend to have workshops mainly in the fall and spring. People don't like to come out in the summer because it's good weather, and they don't like to come out in the winter because it's bad weather.
But they can find out more at your website too. I think we have your web address. It's diabetesinmichigan.org, and then you click on the UP and you find your local homepage, and all that information is on there. So.
And we have an ongoing waiting list. So if a program that we have being offered doesn't meet someone's schedule, we can keep them on a list, and we'll let them know when there's another one. And we always tell people we'll keep you on there till you take a workshop or tell us to quit bugging you. So.
And it's a UP-wide program.
Yeah.
So they're available anywhere across the UP, developed by Stanford University, and we know that it helps people make behavior changes and people feel better, and they actually have lower health care costs as a result of the program.
Sure. I mean, it's great that, diabetes we know is one thing. Some of it can be prevented, some can't. It's great that you're out there trying to help people prevent it, but also deal with it when they have it too.
Right.
So. It's a good cause, good effort. If you can help with fundraising, certainly do that. Participate in things like the Teal Lake Swim, all that stuff. Check them out. Check their website out. You'll find out more about UpDon.
Right.
Ann and Kay, thanks for joining me. Good luck. Keep up the good work. All right?
Thanks,
you very
Doug.
much. All right. When we come back, a person of interest, so don't go away. All right.
City Insurance has you covered. Located on Washington Street, Marquette.
This isn't an ordinary kitchen. It's a Schwalbach kitchen. So what makes that name so special? It's simple. Schwalbach Kitchens means quality. We take pride in our work, and it shows in every detail. Our family of professionals work for your family to make your house a home. Customer satisfaction has always been at the heart of our business. We'll answer all your questions, listen to your ideas, and incorporate them into the final design. There is a difference when it comes to affordable cabinets. Come and see for yourself. Schwalbach Kitchens. Kitchens with the personality.
Restaurants. The trendier they are, the more they charge. At Big Boy, we don't chase the latest trend because we believe value never goes out of style. Whether you order from our menu or enjoy one of our hearty buffets, you'll discover that good food doesn't have to be overpriced. Imagine being able to afford to take your whole family out to dinner. It's not a trend, it's what we do at Big Boy.
People of Interest is presented by Canale Tonella Funeral Home. Canale Tonella, family operated since 1893. All right, we've got a new segment starting this week. It's called People of Interest, and our first person of interest is Dr. Tim Hunt, local veterinarian. Tim, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Doug.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Now, this People of Interest thing, it's not just people who are interesting people, but people who are interested in things as well. And I think that's how you become an interesting person, because you yourself have been interested in things. Then you develop a character that has some depth and breadth, and you have been involved in a lot of different things. I think you're a good example of that. Before we get into some of those specifics, a little bit of the background. Where are you from?
I grew up in Detroit.
Yeah.
Moved up here in '93. Been out of vet school 4 years then, and decided to open a practice in town. I really liked the area. I'd been coming up here every 3 weeks to fish and hunt. Decided to move up here and stake a claim, and so be it. Here I am.
A lot of others with a similar story grew up in Lower Michigan, Detroit area. Come up here, saw the trees and lakes, and said, "Gee, that's not so bad."
Tired of the traffic. You know, it's 26 stoplights in Marquette. Did you know people live within 300 miles of their home 80% of the time of where they grew up? I'm far away from that, so that's good.
Yeah, you are. And
Yes.
I've never counted the stoplights, but that's an interesting thing from an interesting person. Did you always want to be a veterinarian?
I did since I was 11.
Yeah, you had. It wasn't the short hours and the wealthy patients that drove you to it, but it was a passion for it.
Yeah, I enjoyed working with animals.
Did you grow up with pets? Did your family
did.
always have pets?
Had everything from a mouse to a rat to cats and dogs. You name it, I have it.
Yeah.
I've had it.
Yeah.
So.
What do you have now as far as personal pets?
I have 4 cats, 2 indoor dogs, and 36 outdoor dogs.
Yeah, we'll talk about your outdoor dogs. That's related to your experience as a sled dog racer. You've raced in the UP 200. You've raced in the Iditarod. Tell us about that.
It was really a long race. It was very cold, but the best experience of my life, to tell you the truth.
A long race, very cold.
And it was 15 days long of just taking care of the animals, and to me, I'd do it every year if I could, but logistically, it doesn't always work that way. But it was a terrific experience, but kind of tough.
Yeah, how many times have you done that?
I've run it just one time so far.
One time. And how many times with the UP 200?
16 times.
Yeah. And you've also served as a race veterinarian, I think. And
yeah, I did the Iditarod a bunch of times. We've raced in Europe a number of times, Canada, and some other races in the Rocky Mountains. So we've seen a lot of the world behind dog team. To me, if someone will put a trail in from point A to point B and I want to see that area, I'll do it with my dogs. It's a great way to travel.
I would imagine. You mentioned being to Europe and Canada. You do get to see the world, and it's not just I'm going over there to see it. I'm going to go over there and race my dogs and see it at the same time.
Yes.
That's kind of a neat way to get to know the country.
It is. It's a good way. You compete. You're not going over there just to finish last or anything. You're trying to do as best you can and take care of the dogs, but it really is a nice way to see the countryside and people treat you like you're king.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, I love the sled dog race here in Marquette. I think it's one of our greatest events, totally unique and cool. But explain to me, what is it about sled dog racing that it's the appeal? I don't see myself ever doing it.
Yeah.
What is it that really you love about it?
Well, to me, what really pulled me into is 2 things. One, like I said, I came up here to fish and hunt all the time, and I was in the woods all the time in my spare time. So I enjoyed to get out in the woods with my dogs, where I wasn't having to go kill something.
Right.
Okay. And in my job as a veterinarian, I see a lot of illness and bad outcomes or age-related things. So it was nice to be with dogs, and in the same area where I really enjoy to be, which is the woods. So to me, being with the sled dogs is a tremendous ability or opportunity to get in the woods there. But the other thing that's really cool is, as a veterinarian, I'm dealing with all these medical issues, but you're never dealing with a psychological issue. So behavioral training has been really interesting, and it's kind of part of being a psychologist for your dogs. So it's another avenue to be a veterinarian in my aspects of thinking.
One question I've always had is, how can you tell when a dog is not feeling 100%?
No, they just don't. You mean in a sled dog team or in general? They just don't pull as hard.
And you can tell where
yeah,
the
you
pulls
learn
are
all your dogs, you learn all their feet, you learn all their sounds, barks, whatever it might be, but you can pick up on it if you're attentive. You're with them all the time.
Yeah.
So in the winter time, for instance, we start training after dark because I work. We're done at 2 in the morning, get up for work the next day. So it's a constant exposure to your animals. To me, it's very gratifying.
Yeah. Now, another interesting thing that you've done is, and associated with your Bayshore Veterinary Hospital where you work day to day, you've invented some dog food. You produce some dog and cat food called Dr. Tim's. Tell us about this project.
Sure, that really stems from working with the sled dogs again. For many years, we created a food in our garage, and I got tired of putting this witch's brew together and decided to make it into one kibble. So I took that formula and then took it to different plants to figure out who could make it the right way. And after 6 plants, we found the right place to make this food. But the idea is if we feed the metabolism of the dog correctly, we have a healthy animal. And when we saw that work so well in the sled dogs, we took that same application, then made other foods designed for dogs not nearly as athletic as a dog that runs across Alaska, be it the Frisbee dog or a dog that lives on the couch. So we have different levels of food, but still with the same idea of feed the metabolism. There aren't many companies or pet foods out there that really build their foods that way. So there's a niche for us, and it's worked pretty well. It's been an exciting 7 years since we launched our food lines. Yeah. And then the cat food was the same thing. There's a big need for cat foods out there. Like you were talking in the previous segment with the diabetes, and in animal world there's a lot of diabetes that we see with overweight pets, especially cats. And it has to do with what the food or how the food is made. So we built the food to avoid those pitfalls that leads to diabetes in cats, and it really does help tremendously.
What's your distribution area for this? Is it nationwide, worldwide?
Yeah, it's worldwide. We just shipped a load to China last week, for instance, and we shipped to Sweden. So it's all over the place.
I saw it at Merseydotes. So.
And it's at Merseydotes too. Yeah, they're one of our biggest customers. So we started out at Merseydotes with a few bags, and now we're shipping all over the place. But it's growing, and you know, I only have so many hours in a day, and one day this is going to go out of my hands into someone else's, and I'll sit back and be rich and do TV shows like you.
There you go. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of sitting back, you know, what do you do to recreate? Do you do anything else, or is it spending time with your animals? Is that your recreation?
You know, I just was out in Cape Cod and took a week off and went fishing from a kayak.
How about that?
It was great because I was fishing in the ocean. When you hook these big fish that are 20, 30 pounds, they pull you around for 20 minutes like old man on the sea. And to me, I love to be able to find time to do stuff like that.
You probably have to get away from the hospital and away from your dogs in order to enjoy some.
You have to go far away, or I go to a Tiger game. Yeah, that's always good to watch some baseball.
That too. Speaking of Tigers, you were once a pretty good softball player yourself. Third base, had a little power. Chicks dig the long ball, you know.
Yeah, I seem to remember you played too, but I think you drank too much and you kind of fell off the wagon there.
It was quite forgettable. That's the way we're looking at that. Well, listen, Tim, thank you very much for joining us as our first person of interest. You know, you've got a wealth of stories. I'm sure we could go on and on, but what I'll do is I'll tell people if you've got a pet and they need some help, check out Dr. Tim at the Bayshore Veterinary Hospital. I'm sure his passion for your animals will enable him to take care of them the way you'd like them to be taken care of. And certainly check out his Dr. Tim's dog and cat food. Tim Hunt, our first person of interest. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, stick around. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some local events and have a guest musician. So don't go anywhere. All right.
There are many reasons for pre-planning funerals. Peace of mind, sparing family difficult decisions, paying for tomorrow's services at today's prices. But none is more important than making someone's loss a little less empty. Contact Canale Tonella Funeral Home for their free brochure on pre-planning.
The Doug Garrison Show is brought to you in part by Checker Transport. Check out the brand new limo and coach all-in-one. It's great for trips and corporate events and seats up to 30 people. Find out more, visit marquettelimo.com. And by Cliffs Natural Resources, a global mining leader with local investment and impact. Cliffs Natural Resources. Okay. All righty. Okay, I want to thank our guests. We had Dr. Michael Grossman and Melissa Nelson from the Teal Lake Swim for Diabetes. We had Ann Constance and Kay Bammert from Upton, also a diabetes agency, and Dr. Tim Hunt, our first person of interest. Join us here again next week on the Doug Garrison Show. All right, we'll take you home with a little Blackbird. Blackbird singing in the dead of night, Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life.